Hey guys, can you hear me?
I have tried refreshing. Can you share? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Introduction. Yeah. I suppose it's fine now. Yeah. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. It has been very late, so let's get started. Welcome to Let's Flutter Together, hands-on session for to kickstart a journey as a Flutter developer. Uh, I expect everyone has installed Flutter so that you can participate in the hands-on session. So a bit about me. Kuldeep sir gave a very good introduction of me. I'm a final year undergraduate from NIT Raipur. I've been doing Flutter development since about 2.5 years, and I've been contributing to the Flutter organization from about 10 months, and now I'm a member there. So let's start. Let's start from the beginning. So what is Flutter? Flutter is an open source software development toolkit built by Google and was released in 2017. Flutter is not a language. It's built over Dart as its programming language. So if you say that I want to code in Flutter, you don't code in Flutter, you code in Dart, but you'll be using the Flutter SDK. Flutter enables you to build, test, deploy beautiful mobile, web, desktop, and embedded apps. So mobile is for just for mobile, web for Chrome or Firefox, and this stuff. Desktop for Linux, Mac OS, Windows, etc. And embedded too, if you didn't know that. So for even you can even write Flutter apps for a Raspberry Pi from a single code base. So Flutter believes in the write once, run everywhere principle. You just have to write your code once, and it'll run everywhere. If you're worried about the Dart language, it's similar to Java or C++, or if you're familiar with any C type object-oriented programming language, it's very similar. In today's session, we'll be running our app in Linux and web and Android due to my system limitations, but you can run in almost all the platforms possible. Let's just jump into it. I'll be using VS Code as my editor today. You can use Android Studio too. It's up to you. If you are familiar with Android Studio, VS Code has a little bit easier learning curve, so you can get started with VS Code easier. Now, if you have installed Flutter, next there are two important things to install in VS Code itself. That's the Flutter extension. If you just go into the extensions tab and type Flutter, you'll get the Flutter extension. Install that, and then the Dart extension. If you just type Dart and then click on Dart, you'll get the Dart extension here. So these two are important for basic working with the Flutter app. Now let's start with creating a project. Like how can you create a project? There are basically two ways to create a project. You can either use the web, the view of and this VS Code itself. So that would be open up the commands. That's Control Shift P, and then type in Flutter new project, and then go through its steps, and it will create a new project for you. Just or you can just type here. That's Flutter new project. This comes in the Flutter extension. So if you haven't installed it, you won't be seeing this. If you have, you'll be seeing this new project, and it'll just click on here, go through the steps, write its name, etc., and it'll come up. If you want to do a little more hacky way, very code environmental way, and use the terminal it's instead, You can do that too. Just write Flutter, create, and then the name of the app. For example, Hello Flutter. In today's session, we'll be writing the Hello Flutter app. So if you just write this command and press enter, it will create your Flutter app for you. And now it's done. It will just say you all done. In order to run your application, you just have to do these two things. That's cd into Flutter and then run it. So let's cd into Hello Flutter. And now let's go over what are the code files. So if you go into the Explorer, you'll see all the files that exist in Hello Flutter. To run this, to run this, you just have to go into the main.dart file and then click on this run button here. As I told you, you can also run from the terminal, but we'll be using the IDEs button itself. Which device? How do I choose which device should I run from? So if you come bottom down here, you'll be noticing there are two devices connected. Click on this and you'll be seeing both the devices. That's the Linux and Chrome. If you were to connect your phone to, let's say I'll connect my phone. And if you connect your phone, you'll be viewing another option. That's the mobile. This is my phone. So if you connect your phone and then run it in your phone, you'll be able to see it in your phone too. So for today's session, we'll be using the Chrome or the web platform to run our app. And when that's done, you can just click on the play button or the run button and it'll run it in your Chrome application. This is the boilerplate that comes when you create an app. Boilerplate is a harsh word. This is a starter template, more of. That's a code with very, very good documentation that you can read and understand the entire application pretty good. But we'll come to that in a bit. Let's start from pubspec.yaml file. This is a configuration file. So that is a configuration for your Flutter app. So if you are coming from the world of Android or React Native or Node, if you come from any of those worlds, you may realize that Android has manifest.dart file, a manifest, and React has package.json file. So this is similar to that. That's pubspec.yaml file. This contains all the configuration that you need. So for example, the name of the app, a description, a publish to. This is if you are building a plugin or a package for Flutter. Yes, you can build that too using Flutter. Then you have the version. This is pretty standard. And then you have SDK. As environment has the SDK. So environment, just environmental variables, and one of them being SDK. This is the Dart SDK version. So for our project, we will be using the latest Dart version. That's 2.15.1. And this will be actually the package that we'll be using, the Dart language. Then comes the dependencies dependencies section, which is Flutter is a dependency, and then the Kubernetes icons. And then we have dev dependencies. These are the development dependencies that you need only while developing, and you don't actually ship them. For example, you just need testing. You need testing only while developing and then linting. And finally, this is a Flutter specific section. Next, on the left in the Explorer tab, you'll be noticing there are many familiar names in the folders like Android, iOS, Linux, and web. Using this project, you can build your app for any of these four: Android, iOS, Linux, and web. Currently, since I'm using a Linux machine, I cannot build macOS or Windows using this. So these two aren't here, but you can build those two if you just use it, if you just build it on that machine. So all these folders contain platform specific code. For example, for Android, you'll be familiar with this. Like you have the build.gradle, and then in app you have src and then main and stuff if you're familiar with Android. Then is the iOS specific folder, the Linux specific folder, and web specific folder. Web specific folder would be, an example would be, for example, if you want to build a, if you want to change the favicon here. So you can just go into go into the web specific folder and just change the favicon here. So you can change the favicon like this. So this is for that. And then we have the test folder. This is for testing. So if you are writing any test for your project, you'll be writing your tests in this folder. And then finally, you have the lib folder where you'll be writing all your Dart code. This is where you'll be living the longest. And then you have the main.dart file. This is the main starting point for your Flutter app. Now, let's go through a little bit of code. So you'll be noticing our web view is built now. And if this is a simple demo app where it says you've pushed this button these many times. This will come up every time you build anytime you create a new Flutter app. So if you just click on increment, the code will increment. But what if I want to make changes? Because we'll be making a lot of changes. So what if I want to change this push to tab? Let's go down and search where this is, and I'll change pushed to tab. And then when I save this, it will make the changes here. So it's that seamless. You just have to make changes here, and it made the changes in the app too, just by saving the file, and then it works seamlessly again. What if I want to make a little bigger change? Like if I want this to decrement instead of increment, so I can change that. I'll first change the text, and then I'll change the icon to remove. And then now when I press the button, the counter should reduce. So let's see where the counter increases. Yeah, here it is. So instead of increasing, I need to decrease the counter. I'll just save this, and here we have. Now the hover says decrement, and then when I click this, the counter goes down. It's as simple. But you may also realize that this is a Dart file. This is not, again, we'll be writing a program in Dart. So since this is Dart and this is a C-type object-oriented language, we should also be able to do basic things like just getting rid of everything and writing a simple void main. You may be familiar with void main. It's a simple C++ or C++ or Java thing, like we have a main file. So, and now we can do a print statement here. That just says hello Flutter. And technically now I should be able to run this too. Let's stop this project for now, and let's run this. So if I just do Dart lib, yeah, it prints hello Flutter for me. So this, at the end of the day, this is a Dart project. Like, please, I'm stressing this importantly. This is a Dart project which has Flutter as its dependencies, because this is, again, this will be the Dart using the Dart SDK, and then over that it will be using the Flutter SDK. As you notice in dependencies, we have Flutter as a dependency because this is the Dart project, and when we add this dependency, this becomes a Flutter project because Flutter is a very big and important package. Flutter is a package that comes over Dart. So this is at its core, this is the Dart project, and then you'll be reading Dart code, but you'll be using the Flutter SDK. But how do we build apps in Flutter? Now you can build apps using widgets. But what are widgets? What is a widget? Widgets are the basic building blocks in the Flutter app. So you can create new widgets using existing ones, as they are the basic building blocks. So you can, as the guy here shows, you can create new widgets using building them, or you can also create widgets from scratch, just like writing Dart code and then using no other existing widgets, you can create your own app. Like, you'll notice by the end of this session that the entire app that you create is also one single big widget. They describe their view, what their view should look like given their configuration and state. You may notice there is some similarity here for configuration and state. You may have heard this before. It's similar to classes in object-oriented programming. Like, classes have their behavior and then they have their state. So configuration is that behavior and state is just state. You can relate to that. State change, if there is a change in state, the configuration, what is shown here, would change. All widgets exist in a tree called as a widget tree. In your app, everything will exist in a tree. And Flutter, actually, in the Flutter extension, there is a very beautiful way to visualize that tree. And I'll show you in a bit. They can do many things like define structures. For example, if you want to show a button or a menu, they help to propagate stylistic elements. For example, if you want a bunch of buttons or a bunch of text widgets to have the same font or same font size or same color, you can do that by wrapping them in one single widget. They are layout related widgets. For example, if you want padding across a widget, or you want to align widgets in rows. For all your basic needs, you'll either have a widget either in the Flutter SDK itself or on pub.dev. Pub.dev is the package manager for Dart and Flutter and Angular Dart too. So you can get all your packages. If you don't have it, or if it doesn't come with the Flutter SDK, you can install it from pub.dev. And I'll show you how to do that too. In Flutter, everything is a widget, like everything, literally everything. So let's go through some basic ones, starting with Material app. Material app is a Yeah. Yeah, one of them has asked. There was one of question in the chat like which other packages do we need to install. So I'll get to that. It's not important to know before you actually need it. When you need it, you can think about like does it exist already or should I be making it from scratch. So I'll be getting to that too. You don't need to worry about that. So yeah, just speak up. If you have any doubt, just unmute your mic and speak up. This is not a lecture. This is a session. So you can ask anything you want anytime you want. So we'll get to the material app. So a material app, it's a convenience widget that wraps a number of widgets that are commonly required for applications implementing material design. Wow, that was a mouthful. So let's break that down. It is a convenience widget. Again, this doesn't show anything. It's a convenience widget that helps us to do something else. It doesn't do something it's on its own. That wraps a number of widgets. So if you have a bunch of widgets that need a specific design, you can wrap them with material app. Now every app needs a design. It's like what should be the color of this button, like this button, what should be the color of this button, what should be the background color, what should happen when I click this button, how should the color change, what should be the elevation, what should be the shadow color and stuff. You don't need to know this everything when you build an app. That's very difficult, and that would be needed in a production app. But Flutter actually ships with everything defined in a very standard, out of the box, well documented design known as material design. And in order to implement that, all you have to do is wrap your app in material design, material app widget. It will handle all your theming, your routing to different screens and stuff all by itself. You don't have to worry about them. Next is the scaffold widget. Scaffold widget implements basic material design visual layout structure. Let's break that down. It implements the basic material design, so it follows material design visual layout structure. As you notice on the right side, there are a lot of things here. Now in order to build this from scratch, you would have to actually define like when should the left navigation come out, what should be the app bar, what should be its color, how high should it be, how big should be the content area, what should be the floating action button, where should it be, and stuff. But scaffold comes out of the box, everything for you, and you just have to plug and play. You just have to place what should be here and where and how should it display. It will come up on its own. It handles, this class provides API for showing drawers like the left and right navigational drawers, snack bars, and bottom sheets. Next, we have the container. This is again a convenience widget that is used for simple painting, positioning, sizing. Like in bottom, if you want to add padding, if you want to add margins, if you want to add size and stuff, you can do this in container. Then we have the column widgets, column and row widget. This is self-explanatory because if you want a bunch of stuff aligned in a row, aligned vertically, you'll use a column, and if you want them to align horizontally, you'll use a row. Then you have the elevated button. This is a material design elevated button whose material elevates when pressed. So if you press this button, when you use it and press this button, its material or the color of this tile will change according to a very, like it will make you feel like you are actually pressing this. Now let's build an app. Enough chit chat, enough of theory. Let's build an actual app. So now if right now we haven't done much, we just have used void main and just printed anything. But let's actually write something in Flutter. Let's use the Flutter SDK. When you start in Flutter app, everything starts from one function known as run app. Run app, what run app does is it will inflate your given widget and attach it to the screen. Like if you have come from the Android world, you may recognize what inflate means, but if you not, don't worry about it. Don't worry. What inflate does is if you give it a widget, it will convert that widget into something that can be seen on the screen. That's what inflate means. Inflate means converting your widget into something that can be seen on the screen, that has pixels, and then attach it to a screen. That's what run app does. Now after I use tab to import, tab to get the run app function, it auto imported the Flutter material library for me. So this is the material library. This is the widgets implementing material design. So this is the run app function, and any widget you give this, it will use it. It will convert the widget into something that can be viewed. So let's create a simple widget. Let's say I just want a logo, a Flutter logo in the center. So I'll just add given an inbuilt widget known as Flutter logo inside this app. And if I save this and then run this, I'll be expecting a Flutter logo at the center of the screen. This is a Chrome. I'll be using the Chrome widget, Chrome device itself. And let's run that. Let's see what happens. If you have any doubts, again, I'll be asking this again and again. If you have any doubts, you can just speak up. Anything. If you have any doubts, it doesn't matter how weird or how out of context it may seem. If you have anything, just shoot out. Yeah, so this is what we expected, just a Flutter logo at the center, but this is not that good. Like, what are we going to do with this? This is not very helpful for us. So now, as I told you, we'll be using one of the widgets that we already have. So let's say I want to use the material app, because I'll be using the material design. If you will be building your app in iOS, there is a similar thing known as the Cupertino app. Cupertino is the design language or the design pattern for iOS. So if you want to use that, you can also use that. But since we'll be using for basically building for Android or the Android world, we will be using the material design. So let's do material design, material app. Material app is a class that has a constructor and then it takes arguments. So one of the arguments is home. As I told you, material app handles routing. So what should be visible when you are at the home route? So let's say I want to display a scaffold. Scaffold, as we talked about, what scaffold was it was a material, it was a visual layout structure that defines a lot, that follows material design, and it lays out the stuff for you. Let's say I want in the body section, I want a text widget. Text widget is a widget that takes in a text and then it will show you on the screen that text. Let's say it should just say hello Flutter. I'll just save this. And now I have a hello Flutter text. It's better than before, but it's not that good still. Like this should be like in the center. It should be a little bit bigger. Let's do that. What if I want to center my widget? How do I do that? So there are a few ways to do this. One, you can cut this out. You can remove this, add a different widget that will center anything for you, and then add that. Add this back to it. Or a simpler way to do this is just put your cursor on the text widget or the widget that you want to center, and then press Control dot. Or if not Control dot, give me a second. Give me a second. I'll just disable something. Yeah. So now if you just go to your widget and do Control dot, it will open up a list or just this icon. Very sorry. This is something that will be difficult for you to understand. Okay, I'll run this again on web, and then let's close this. Now if I want to center this text widget, I can just put my cursor over here and press Control dot. It will open up a drop down for me. This is all the things that you can do with your app, with your widget. So let's say I want to center this, so I'll do wrap with center. You can also, instead of doing Control tab, just keep your cursor here and click on this yellow bulb. This will show you all the code actions, and then you can just click on center, and then it'll wrap your text widget inside of a different center widget. But this center widget will do anything you give to this, it'll wrap it for you. For example, let's let the app build, and now we'll have a text widget that says hello Flutter at the center. This is not at the center. Let's say this. Yeah, now we have a hello Flutter text that is on the center line. Now, but this is still not big enough. Let's make it a little big. Now, since you want to change something that is specific to this text, we have to change its style. The text widget has a property known as style. Style is just a text style class, and then you can add the font size to it. Let's say I want the font size to be 20. I'll save this and run this again. And now I have a bigger Hello Flutter text. You may notice that as we go on adding stuff, this will get very big, and this is not very like easy way to edit and make changes. What you can do, as I told you earlier, you can make your own widgets too. How do I make this my own widget? This should be my separate widget that I should be able to handle, and not like add stuff to this just to clutter stuff. How I can do this is keep my cursor on material app, since this is the widget that I want to extract, so as to say, and then click on this bulb and then say extract widget. It'll ask me a name. What should be the name of the widget? Let's say my name should be Hello Flutter app, since this is an app. And when I press enter, it'll do some changes. And now, instead of, oh sorry, this is a function extraction. I want to extract widget. Sorry, I extracted method earlier. I don't want to extract a method. I want to extract widget. And the name of the new widget should be Hello Flutter app. When I do this, now I have a different widget here. More than a few things happened. Let's try to break them down. This is where my original app or the original widgets existed. Now this is just replaced with Hello Flutter app, since that is the only widget that we'll be passing in run app. Down here we have a new class. This is a class known as Hello Flutter app. Now, but you didn't say, hey, Hello Flutter app was a widget. Every widget is a class, and it extends one or either a stateless widget or something else known as stateful widget. What is a stateless widget? Stateless widget is a widget that does not require mutable state. As we talked about earlier, every widget has configuration and state. And what does it mean for something to not have any mutable state? This means that this widget will only have configuration. That is, what should it display? It's similar to writing an HTML page. Whatever you write in it, and once you publish it, it will remain that. It won't change. Something similar. To be more exact or more rigorous, this widget will not be making any changes to itself. This widget won't. Its children might make to themselves, but this widget won't be making any changes. This is just the constructor part. And then we have a build function. Build function is where you'll be returning the children widget, or the widget that this master widget should return. And this is again the same thing that we had earlier. You may notice there are squiggly lines, and that is because it says you just have to declare a const here, so that this is just a performance thing, and you can just add const. So now here we have it, but this is still not very good. Let's do something else too. I want an app bar here, and I want this Hello Flutter to come up in that app bar. Let's do that. As I told you, scaffold comes with all the layout structures or elements, and you just have to plug and play. I want to add an app bar here. Let's add it here. So I'll just add the app bar argument, and then I'll pass in an app bar. In the app bar, I want the title to be this. This should be the title. So since the stylistic elements is already handled by app bar, I'll just get this into title. And I just want the text to go here, and I no longer need the body. Yeah, so now I'm going to save this. I'm sorry, my device is a little slow. It is slow. Now I have an app bar that says hello Flutter. Now let's say I want to build an app. Let's have a future for this app. What should we build? So let's make an app that shows a list of hello Flutters in different languages. Let's say I want to display in, like, let's say 10 or 15 different languages, and I just want the app to say hello Flutter in all those languages. So in Hindi it should say Namaste Flutter and so on. So now I want the language specific text in the center, a flag of the country on the left, and a button that when pressed should say or speak out the hello Flutter in that language. This may sound a lot, but this is very easy to do in Flutter. It's not very difficult. Let's go through it again. Every row or every row should have one of all of these things: a flag, a text, and then a button. Let's do that. Let's create a different widget to handle each of these. So I'll just go on here in the lib folder. I'll create a new file and I'll call it hello Flutter widget dot. I'll import the material library, that's import Flutter package Flutter material, and I'll create a class. I'll call it hello Flutter widget extends. Now every time you create a new widget, you have a choice. Do you want it stateful or stateless? Stateless is where you don't need any configuration changes, or state changes. Correct. State changes during the app's lifecycle. Since the text doesn't need to change, like in our row, I don't need the flag or the text or the button to change at any point. We'll be okay with stateless widget. Let's just do stateless widget. And now you'll be having those red squiggly lines because we haven't overridden the build method. In build method, I want to return three things, but I can return only one thing here. How do I return three things? As I told you earlier, if you want stuff aligned in a row or arranged in a row, you use the row widget. So we'll be using that. We'll be using the row widget. The row widget, I'll just add the semicolon at the end. The row widget has an argument known as children, and children, we can, any number of items we add here, they will be displayed in a row wise pattern. So now I need three things. I need a flag, I need the text, and then I need a button. For text, we already know what to do. We can just do a text widget and then that says hello Flutter. We'll add, like, we'll make it variable here in a second, but right now we just need a text widget. For button, we can use elevated button, as we already discussed. Elevated button has two arguments, on pressed and child. On pressed, we have to add a pass a function here. So this is the function. This is how you declare anonymous functions. If you are coming from the Java or C, a little core C++ word, or Python itself, this is like a lambda function. And then you have the child widget. Child is what should be visible inside this button. So what should be visible? There should be a text that says speak. But we don't have a flag still. We need a flag here. How do we get a flag? And also, when this button is pressed, this should speak. This means we need to add audio in some way. How do we do that? Now we'll be using packages. As I told you, packages come from pub.dev. We'll be using packages here. Let's have a look here itself. If I just go to pub.dev, this is the package repository for all our needs. So if I want a flag, I can just search for flag. I know this, but I can just search for flag, and this is a widget that we can use. A flag Flutter package used for showing different flags. And then we have another widget known as Flutter TTS. This is a Flutter text-to-speech plugin. So if we use this and then we pass any text to this widget, it will speak it out for us. So now let's do that. Let's import these packages to our repository. So I can again go to and then add these items. I have a second. I'll copy over. So this is the TTS and then flag. Now this is a little difficult to add every time. You can also use an extension known as pubspec adder, pubspec add dependencies, pubspec assist to be exact. So this is an extension which using which you can add dependencies very easily. So let's say I want to add these widgets without actually copy pasting stuff. So I can do Control Shift P here. I can press Control Shift P and then add dependency, pubspec assist, add or update dependency, not dev dependencies. I don't want to do dev, I want to do dependencies. And then what should be the name? Let's say flag. And then it will auto import it for me. I'll do the same thing for Flutter TTS. And then it will auto import the latest version for me. I'll just save this and it'll get those packages from the pub dev repository. Now I can use those here. Let's say I want a flag here. What flag does come with English? That's US. So let's add a flag here. So I'll do flag dot from code flags code dot US. And finally, the text to speech is Flutter TTS dot speak hello Flutter. So now I have this widget ready. I'll also define a constructor here. This is just a simple constructor definition. And now if I go into main and in the body, let's just add this. In body, I'll add hello Flutter widget. And when I save this, give it a second. Yeah, we have this a hello Flutter and then speak. We don't have the flag here. I guess we have to, whenever you make changes to the pubspec thing or add on remove dependencies, you have to hot restart this. Let's also define its dimensions, like its height should be 70 and width should also be 70. And let's hot restart this. Okay, this didn't come here. Let's try it out on Linux. If you have any doubts till now, you can speak up if you need. Your audio is breaking a little bit. Maybe it's just me. Your audio is breaking. I can't hear you.
Hi Viren. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had one question. Is there any, well, in PubDev, is there any library to create a file or folder like that? Hello.
I'm losing you.
Yeah, am I audible
I
now?
can't hear you correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had one question in PubDev, we have any libraries to create our in internal storage or external storage, we can create our own, folder and file, data.json.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
data.txt.
you can do that. There are packages that will help you manage database for like SQLite and Postgres. There are also packages that will handle all the storing for you. It'll just tell you what to store. It'll just ask you what to store, like shared preferences. It'll tell you what to handle, where to handle everything. It'll handle it for you, and then you can also go into the integrity into creating files, like adding bits to it, adding text to it, and so on. Like bitwise manipulation of text, you can also do that.
Which
Yes,
is
there are.
yeah, and another question, like, which is better? Is it using libraries is better, or doing all the creating the SQL, doing all the stuff? We only doing
it's
it.
it's see, if you're starting or creating your first project, or like your 100 in your starting project, it's not a very big major thing. It's always better to use the community provided packages from pub.dev, because they are actively maintained and they are very highly proficient or efficient in how they do stuff, because it's open source and it is maintained by professionals.
Okay, okay.
So it's always better to use those.
And how to get to know this library or open source project is good? Like I have four or five uh, packages for the same thing. Which one is better? Like that, how can
So
I get?
pub.dev has this likes and popularity metric. So
Yeah, yeah.
any project that has the highest likes or highest popularity, you can just pick that directly.
What is that pop points? Is there no in
Didn't get you. Could you repeat?
with the likes and popularity? There is one another thing
Yeah.
called pop points. What is that?
Points is just all the standards that they are supposed to follow. That's points. And popularity is how often are those packages used, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
just something calculated depending on how often people download or install those packages.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
And yeah, there's a point. And likes is just, you can just visit a package and just like it yourself. If you like the package, you can just click like, and it will
Okay,
add to the counter.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, can we use room db in Flutter? Yeah, yeah. So room database, there is a very nice name for room database plugin, that is Moor, MWR. So it's almost the same package, and it's for Flutter. You can definitely do that. It just has a different package name, and you can use that. You can check it out on pub.dev too. I guess we can continue with this. So now you may notice that we have a flag, a text, and speak. The only problem, you may notice that what did Viren do in this time? I just stopped and reloaded the package. I just restarted it and it works. So if you add new packages, and that's also one of the reasons my machine is slow a little bit due to overhead. It took a time to load, and I just had to restart it. So here we are. I haven't changed anything else. It's just like this. Now you may notice it doesn't spread it out. It's very congested. I need it to spread out. I can do that by managing the main axis alignment. Since this is the main axis for row, row's main axis is horizontal, and I'll just change that main axis alignment. Main axis alignment dot space between. I need the space to be between them. If I save this now, there will be space between the text, between all the widgets. So this is what I wanted. The hello flutter in the center, flag should be on the left, speak on the right, and we have it. Also, there should be a little padding on the left and right. It's sticking to the wall too much, and this is not very desirable. We can add that. We can do this by wrapping this row inside a padding widget. Again, how to add this? Just keep your cursor on row, go to the bulb, and say wrap with padding. Just save this and it will be reflected here. You can change how much padding you want by changing this 8 number. If you want more padding, you can just turn it to 10, 16, whatever. And now we have padding on left and right. Okay, so we did that, we added the import. But this, it would be very difficult to do this for everything, like for Hindi, for Spanish and all the languages. So instead of doing this, I need a way to create a class and pass that class around in this constructor itself. Let's do that. Let's go into file. Let's create a new file known as, I'll call this hello flutter, just hello flutter. And this is supposed to be a class, simple class. It's not a widget, not a constructor or anything. It's I mean, not a widget, not stateless, stateful, anything. It's just a simple class, and it should have 4 arguments. It should have final string, the language, and then I'll have final flags code, flag code, like what flag should it show. I'll have the flag, I'll have final, what next is needed, the text in the middle. So I need text, that's string text. And then finally, if when I press the speak button, it should speak. Like I didn't test this.
Hello, Flutter.
Yeah, you heard that. When I clicked on it, it did the TTS thing, because in the Flutter widget we added Flutter TTS.speak hello Flutter. So when I press this, it just says speaks. But also, I also need this to set its language. Like it should say it in Hindi, Spanish, or different languages. So I'll be using something known as locale. I'll be explaining what locale is, but locale is what language should it speak. So what should be the locale of the language, a locale of the thing that we're using. Now there are red squiggly lines because we are missing imports. Let's add those imports, and then we need a constructor here. So I can just do this directly, and this, now we have a constructor. We need the different for, we need now all, we need this for all the languages. So I have already written the boilerplate down. I'll just copy paste it, and I'll explain what that is. Okay, I'll change around a bit. So now we have all this for different languages. So these are just static initializations of hello Flutter objects. That's in English and Hindi and Spanish. And these are just constructor methods. Like hello Flutter in English, it should be hello Flutter, the flag should be US, and the locale should be EN. And then we have in Hindi, it should say Namaste Flutter, Indian flag, and HI. In Japanese, it should say Konnichiwa Flutter. In flag should be Japanese, and then the locale should be JP. And finally, we have a list of all of these. I just created one variable, all languages, and this is just a list. Now I want to use this. I want to use this and map all of them to their own widget. But first, I need a list here. I need a list here because I need the list of a scrollable list that I can scroll through. To do that, you may remember, if you're coming from Android, you have to use recycler view and then add a adapter to that, and then add a view model to that to attach to that. In Flutter, it's very easy. Just use list view. As simple as that. And you just have to add children here. Children argument, and then whatever arguments you give it this to children, it will create a scrollable feedback widget for you, and you can scroll through them. Now I have all the languages ready for me in this all languages static variable, static member. So I can access that using the hello flutter dot all languages. Now this is a list of all the languages or all the hello flutter objects, but we need a list of widgets to pass to children. It takes in a list of widgets. So I can map all of them into list of widgets. How I can do that? Just do dot map. What map does, it takes in a function e, if you remember lambda functions, it takes in a function, it transforms this e into whatever we want. We want to change it to hello flutter widget, and then pass this e in. We haven't enabled passing this e in yet, but I'll enable that in a second, and then convert this to a list. And now the list view part has the children of all the languages mapped to hello flutter text, hello flutter widget. Let's accept that E. Let's go into the Hello Flutter widget and let's have a final Hello Flutter, and then we'll add it to the constructor by just control dot again and then add final fields. And now this is also calmed down, like, yeah, this is an expected thing. Now we have to use this Hello Flutter text. So this gives us flags. So I'll replace this with flag, Hello Flutter dot flag code. This is where we defined it in our Hello Flutter when we declared it. We have the language, the flag code, the text, the locale. So we will be using that now. Flag should go here, flag code should go here, the text should go here. So they have the flag code, sorry, Hello Flutter dot text. The text should also go here because that is what we'll be speaking. And that's it. But we also have locale. We didn't use locale. We'll be using locale right here itself. So there is a function in Flutter TTS that is called as select language, set language. And this is where you pass in the locale. So when you do that, the accent of the lady or the person that's speaking changes to the locale that we set. Hello Flutter.locale. Now if I save this, and I have a bunch of widgets that we all declared. So I have the US flag, Hello Flutter, and then we have Namaste, and then we have a scroll bar with the scroll view, and then for all the languages that we need. And then you can pick anything like Hindi. If I press on speak, Namaste Flutter. Now this is an Hindi accent, or to be exact, Indian accent. If I go for something like France, Bonjour Flutter. This is in French accent. If I don't use this locale, it will just use the default locale, that's the English accent, that's the American accent, and it'll just do everything in American accent, which sounds very weird. But in language specific accents, it sounds very good. So now I have these in for Japanese. Konnichiwa Flutter. Konnichiwa Flutter. So this was pretty good. This was pretty easy too. It wasn't difficult at all. We just got all the list. We defined the stuff we made them static because this is technically data, and you can fetch data from a lot of sources like API or database and stuff. But since we are doing this a demo, we can just get static data for now. And then we have all the languages. I suppose this is clear to everyone. If you have any doubts till now, please shoot up.
Hi.
Yeah.
So this flag is there, no?
Yeah.
How will it work? Whether it works as a image.network like that?
Yeah. Yeah. In the background, it works as image.network.
Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It will handle it for you.
To show any image, which will use image.network or cached network image?
See, there are the basic or the Flutter provided way to add any other image if you want is image.network. Okay. You can also do different like image.asset. If I'll just take a second here. In Row itself, I'll do image dot. You'll have asset, file, memory, or network. Asset is if you want to add an image that exists in your assets folder. I haven't created here one yet, but if you want, I'll show you the demo for that. Then you have the file. File is something that exists on the user's device. Memory is if you have the bytes of those, bytes of the image, and network is if you want to fetch that via the URL. So these are for those. If you have what you are mentioning, that's caching, that is something that you can pre-cache something before building an app. You can pre-cache those because if you use an
Hello, you were not audible.
anything else? Anyone else has any doubt? If not, we can move on to stateful widget. If you have anything, please, you can speak up. It's no problem. No worries. Okay, let's move to stateful widget. Now we have to talk a lot about stateless widget. If nothing has a state, okay, we know that. But what about stateful widget? If I want to add a state, let's say we need a functionality where we need dark mode. As developers, we love dark mode. We need dark mode now. But how do I enable dark mode? I need to have a state where if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to dark mode. And if I press a button, it should change to and then when I press the button again, it should change to light mode. So this is a state, like something that changes during the life cycle of the app. So we need to add a stateful widget for this. Let's add a button right here. There is a debug label here. This is just this is provided by the material app. You can remove that by using debug check mark banner set to false, and then the debug label will be gone. And now you can I need to add a button here that when I press, it should change it to dark mode, and then when I press again, it should change it to light mode. So let's do that. For that, I need to change my app, since my app has the material app, and material app is the one that handles theme. So I need to make this widget a stateful widget. Let's do that. In order to make a stateful widget, it's pretty straightforward. You can just keep your cursor or the cursor on stateless widget, press on the bulb icon, and then say convert to stateful widget. If you click this, something happened. Let's take it one by one. I don't think much change here. I had the class, I had the floating Hello Flutter app extends stateful widget. Okay, there was stateless here, but now I have stateful widget. That changed. The constructor didn't change. It still accepted key and then it passed it to super key. This changed. This is create state. This function got added. Instead of overriding the build method here, now I'm overriding the create state function. And then it is passed this function, this class known as Hello Flutter app state. If you're wondering what that underscore is, this underscore just means that this class is private to this file. You can also do that with variables. So if let's just out of this, if you define a variable, let's say text, and if you add an underscore in the at the front, no one else will be able to access this except you. Right? Naming it private. That's simple. We don't have a private keyword in Dart. Again, let's continue. We have a state here. Okay, it create state function, and then we have another class of underscore Hello Flutter app state, and then it extends state of this Hello Flutter app, and then it again has build method. This is what we are familiar with, build method, and then it returns all the widgets that we need. Why do we need this? Why do we need now two classes instead of one? See, in Flutter, if you think about it, nothing actually has state in HTML or in React also. If you have worked with any other application, you may notice that instead of actually having state, we simulate state. What we do is when you press a button, we change everything and then we redraw everything or we redo everything. In React, it just sends a new page for you and stuff. So in our what this class does is it manages that. Like, what if the state changes? I'll just create a new state. This is what this does. Whenever a state has changed, I'll just create a new state with those changes, because the configuration doesn't change, but the state changes. So when the state changes, I'll rebuild the configuration. I'll get to the demo for that. Let's get how to do this. So this is the state. I can make changes here, and this will handle those changes. Let's say I want to change the theme. So I'll have a bool variable that says theme is light, and I'll initialize it to true, because initially our theme should be light. And now I can in the material app, I'll specify the theme mode. Theme mode is if you want the theme to be dark or light. So I'll have, if the theme is light, I need the theme mode to be light, else my theme mode should be dark. If you're not familiar with this is the ternary operator. That's the question mark in if else statement sort of. If this is true, first argument is passed, else the second argument is passed. So I have passed this, but we haven't made any changes. We haven't like wrote any code to change this variable, because if this variable changes, then the theme will change. How to do that? But before that, we need to see where do I want to place the button. Where do I want to place the button that will make those changes? Let's say I want the button to be right here on the top right. So I can come to app bar. This is the part of the app bar, and in the end I want the button to be at the end. So that is done by the actions variable or actions argument. Whatever you pass in here, it will be displayed on the right. And this is an array of widgets. So you can add more than one things. I'll be adding just one thing. That's a button. This is, I need an icon here, so I'll use an icon button instead of an elevated button. It needs an on pressed and the icon. The icon we need is, let's say for now, icons dot light mode. Let's see what light mode is. Okay, so we have a light mode button, and then on pressed should change the state. Let's see how to do that. On pressed, I need a function here. I need to change state when this button is pressed. So change state can be done by a special function known as set state. Set state is a function that takes in another function. This is a, if you notice, this is a anonymous function. Sorry about that. This is an anonymous function. So this function will be called when set state is called. So now I can pass what I want. What I want is the theme is light should become equal to not theme is light. That is, it should toggle. Okay, I'll save this now. Let's see what happens. Now I have this button here, and when I press this, nothing happens. Why did nothing happen? Because I have changed the state here. I've changed the type of widget here. So whenever you make any change, that is a very big change. Now, how do you define very big change? Where either the state changes, the widget type changes, or you add new dependencies to it. You cannot just hot restart. You have to hot reload or hot reload. You cannot hot restart. So if you put that down, this still doesn't work. Okay, so at the end, if nothing works, just stop it and start it again. Now if I press this, it's not changing. Let me see what happened. Let's debug this. I can add a print statement here, go to debug console and see what happens. This is set to false, which means it should show dark theme here, but it's not. Let's change the theme itself. So if I change the theme to dark theme instead, okay, dark theme works like this. So theme mode doesn't change it, but dark theme does. So let's change it from here. We can move this. Instead of changing the theme mode, let's change the theme itself. So I'll have the theme is light, theme data dot light, else the theme data will be dark. Okay, now I can remove this print statement. I can set this to not theme is light. And now when I change this, the theme changes. Okay, now it works. So the problem was the theme mode doesn't change it, but theme changes it. So theme, I can set the theme to theme light, theme data light when the variable is true, else I'll set it to false. And when I click it back, it'll change it to light. Now this works. So we have a stateful widget that when that has a state. Now this is the state of the stateful widget. This is the state, and when you set state, the state changes, and this notifies the parent widget that hey, my state has changed, create a new state, and then it will create a new state with this variable defined. Okay, now we can do some modifications a little bit, make this a little bit better. Now when I am in the light theme, here it should show me a dark theme icon. Let's do that. So in here the icon should be, if theme is light, the icon should be icons.dark theme or dark mode, else the icon should be light mode. Let's save it, and now I have a dark mode icon. When I press this, the icon also changes from light to dark. And I suppose the padding on the right is a little less. Let's add padding there, so I can keep my icon on an icon button actually. Keep my cursor on icon button, press on this, do padding. But now I also only want padding on the right. Top and left is correct. I suppose they don't make any difference. On the right I need padding. So instead of all, I'll set it to only, and I just want it on the right, and I want padding of 16. When I save this, I'll have a padding of 16 on the right. Now this looks good. It looks better. So now I have this app built. Do you have any questions till now? Anyone? Anything? I suppose you couldn't see the padding thing. I'll show it to you again. Just keep your cursor, click on this bulb, and then select wrap with padding. Is everyone clear now? Anyone has questions or anything I missed out? Something important I missed out? Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Okay. So I suppose everything is clear. So we can move on to the last or the second last step of this session. I'll stop this now, and let's move to task time. I'll be giving you a simple task, and you have to do that task for me.
Okay.
You can visit this website. Give me a second. I'll create this repo for you right now. I'll make this public. It's private currently. Yeah, so you can now visit this website. That's GitHub, Viren Khatri and Hello Flutter. I'll put the link in Meet too. And you'll have the task in the README file. You also have to have the task here. That's the task is you need to center the app bar in title in the app bar, add a Flutter logo in the app bar on the left of title, and then add a line between Hello Flutter widgets in the list. Let's see how you do that. So a simple guideline would be fork that project. Fork is on the top right in the link here that I provided. Then clone the fork widget, complete the task above, commit and push the changes, and then create a pull request on my repository. If you have any doubts, let me know about the task. The tasks are also provided in the README file of the project. I'll be giving you like around 15 to 20 minutes to complete the task. Now you'll be thinking like, how do I do these? How do I do these things? Like center the title, how do I do this? So a best way to do this, I've also added the resources in the readme file. The best way to do this is just Google search, because this is a very important skill while developing. You need to know how to search something that you don't know. So you can just search for it on the internet, how to do this, and then do them. This is the exact code. The code that I pushed is the exact code that I built right now, and you just have to do the stuff over this.
Viren, can you explain the third task, like add line between hello
Yeah.
Flutter?
So yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you. Give me a second. Just a second. Till that time, go ahead and clone the projects, fork them, and start working on it. So you will notice like there are few widget, the row of widgets here. They aren't separated correctly. So I need a line right here between two of these widgets. I need a line here so that they are separated and they look better. That's it. So there should be a line between these two and each of them. So here, here, and so on. Let's see how you do that. I'll be giving you hints in a little bit. So if you get stuck in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll give you hints. If not, like that will be great for you. Let's get to it. I don't see any folks yet. Has no one forked yet? I suppose Sumant is working right now. I see Sumant has forked.
Yeah. 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 Uh, I have taken the full. I will have a few minutes and if I get any. Yeah. First we have to do pub.get, right? So that all the packages Flutter pub
Yeah.
get. Yeah.
So if you open your project in VS Code, you'll get a notification on bottom right to get the packages directly. Or you can just visit the pubspec.yaml file and just do control save, and it will get the applications, get the packages for you.
Okay.
You don't need to run it from the terminal, but if you want, you can.
Yeah, it's working. I saved it working. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah, okay. So you already done it. So that was
How's it going, Sumant? I suppose you're done with 1 and 2. What's your progress, Simon?
Yeah, done with 1 and 2.
Done with the
Checking the
task, all the three?
no, no, not three. Third one I am doing.
Third one is remaining.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any idea how you're approaching it?
Yeah, I am checking in the Google. As it-
Okay.
There is one called divide tiles. List tile dot divide tiles.
Let's start with. I'll help you with it if you are stuck somewhere. So I suppose the first task was center aligning the Hello Flutter thing. How did you center align the text?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah. I just 1 minute. I just did the center.
you wrapped this with center,
Wrap it to the center. Yeah. You showed right.
but
Control.
yeah, yeah, but they did center.
Yes, yes.
Did you try running it? Like, did the widget center? Let's try it out. If I do center and then I run it. Okay, this centers, but this is not the center of the actual app bar. This is center of starting from here till here. It's centered like this. I actually want to center it right here. To do that, actually, you instead of using this widget, you have to actually use a different argument of app bar known as center title, and you can just set this to true. When you set this to true, it will be actually centered.
Okay.
I hope you understood this.
Yeah, yeah.
Then comes the adding a Flutter uh, logo right here. How did you do that? or are you still on it?
No, there is leading.
Yeah, correct. So there is a leading argument in app bar,
Yeah.
and you can just add the widget here. If you save it, you'll have the Flutter logo right here. But then this is very big. You need a little bit of padding. So you can again keep the cursor here, use the drop down, and select wrap with padding. And then it will be a little bit padded on the sides, and then it will look a little better. And the last was adding a divider here. Are you done with that, or are you still trying it out?
Yeah, yeah. I was checking like list tile divide tiles is there.
No, but that is something that is specific to list style. We are not using list style. We are
Yeah,
using widgets here with row. I'll tell you.
yeah.
Okay. See, this is a row right now, correct? I need
Yes.
a widget that divides, or a line to be exact. I need a line below the row widget, correct? This row
Yeah.
widget, the left should be a flag, center should be text, right should be a button, but below all of them, there should be a line. So how can I add that line? I'll create a column of this. So below this padding widget, this should be wrapped in a column. I'll add a column widget right here. I'll wrap this with a column. How I did this? Control dot wrap with column. And now I have a column widget. And in this column widget, below this padded row, I need a divider.
Okay, okay.
Divider, if you hover over divider, it creates a material design divider. That's just a straight line. And when you save this, you'll have a divider here. Understood this?
Yeah, yeah, understood.
So if you just search here, add a line between widgets Flutter, you can see how to draw horizontal line in a row. And then if you scroll down in the solution, and it will say try wrapping your column and then expand it so that the divider knows how much space to occupy. So you have to use a divider here.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
you have to add a column and then add a divider. Okay. So like you'll be using a lot of Stack Overflow here, and you'll be answering a few questions, and you'll be learning through that, because you need a column. If you need to learn more about documentation, you can always visit the resources. I'll link down the resources right now. So in PPT itself, these are the resources for all the stuff you need. I would highly suggest you go through all of the resources. So the first one being the crash course to Flutter. This is a book, Flutter apprenticeship. And then you have the official YouTube channel, the official documentation, API documentation. This is a blog that I wrote. This is the my Medium profile, which has the blog for Flutter contribution. If you want to contribute, this is the link for all the packages, the package repository. Uh, this is the Dart pad online. So this is like an online editor for you to write Dart packages, the Dart code and Flutter code itself, and then the Flutter community. I'll link these packages down for you to copy paste in the meet itself.
Okay, okay.
If you have any other doubt, let me know.
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah, everything got clear.
Just a second. Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Then now there's the AMA session. If you want to ask me anything to Flutter, not related to Flutter, anything. If anyone has any doubt.
Yeah,
Suppose someone has a question. Yes,
yeah,
Suman.
session. Yeah, session was great. I learned a lot of things like control dot start with that. I didn't knew that. I have started developing in Flutter from 2 months. Yet
Okay.
I have came up with that. Yeah. So it was good, and the finally you added the task. No,
Yeah.
lots of people don't do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. That was great.
So, do you have any doubts related to the session or something?
Yeah, 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 like how do you learn? How do you guys learn? Like suppose you are learning something new. So how do you start? Whether you see YouTube videos or you start with reading books. Like there are books on Flutter Apprentice like that. So
So my general, this is a take that is very opinionated. That different people have different opinions on it. Some people actually like a very well structured course, like from Coursera or Udemy. Some people just opt that, they love that, and they're just obsessed with just watching a course and nothing segregated a lot. Some people like documentation, so they won't even look at a video, they'll just read documentation or books. And the last is my kind of people, where we just start with YouTube videos, where we get a kickstart from the YouTube videos or any session, and then we'll just take the documentation and Stack Overflow. So I would suggest try all these and see what fits you. So you can start with the Coursera, take up anything that you like. If you like that, just continue with it. If not, start with YouTube videos or just documentation. So there are, since the internet has blown up, instead of thinking how should I learn this, the notion has changed to which way should I choose to learn, since there are a
yeah.
lot of.
So while watching the YouTube videos also, like will you have pen or paper with you or any Google Docs with you like that?
So if you are learning something that is something that you may forget and you don't have very much connection to it. Like recently, I was into learning machine learning and data science. So while learning this, since that is a very new concept to me, and I am not very like reliable, I'm not very well versed with it. I did take down some notes. Now you can either write it in a pen notebook or in a, text editor in your PC itself. So I
Okay.
have been making notes for that, since that is very new to me. Since I've been developing for a long time, I don't generally need notes for development. I just need practice for that. So for development, if you want to get well versed, just practice a lot. Just take up new projects. If you want to learn something, instead of watching a video just to learn something, instead of doing that, pick up a project and try to apply your current knowledge to it and see how it comes up. If you find something new, you'll learn it because you'll be applying it that time itself. And if you know something, you'll be brushing up.
Yeah. As you mentioned, like nowadays, like there is lot of resources.
Hmm.
So like trimmed on like lot of resources are there. Which is best? Like that. How do you?
It's generally, again, it's highly opinionated. I suppose Kuldeep sir has some thoughts on this.
Yeah. So I had another one question related to career related question. Yeah, suppose in my company is what happening is like the culture is not that much good. Like not everybody is into like learning and all those things. Not so much. Not those much initiative. All those things they will not take. Yeah, but the since it's a small company, I like from second month only I got to work on the projects, like really cool projects and all those things. So uh, now I am in this you know, stage where if I join to some good company, there will be less projects. There will be lot of employees, but the culture will be good and there will be helping you to grow. But here, here that culture and all those things are not that good. But projects will be coming up. Yeah. So what should I do in this situation? Like, what would you guys would have done? Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, doing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Will there be any future events
Yeah.
happening?
Thank you, Kuldeep, for.
Okay, okay. Sure. Great explanation, and within the time frame, no, m- time frame was good. Like all those things are good. Yeah. Okay.
No worries, no worries.